Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. It has been 21 days since I last pruned my Serissa, and now it needs pruning again. It doesn't need pruning today because it's gotten too long, but because I want to go in and refine the branch structure. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. I've got this new shoot that's too long here, and behind it I have a branch here and a branch forming back here. So this new shoot I can prune back shorter and develop the two smaller shoots down below, making that whole branch more compact. If I step back and look at the styling of the tree, you can see it's a little high at the edges of the profile. The shape is a little high too. It could be kind of brought back a little flatter. It's starting to get a little too rounded in some sections, and I could define these pads in the branch structure a little more. So my goal is to get separation between the layers so you can actually kind of see through the tree. Hopefully I can get that someday. So that's one of the reasons I'm pruning these new shoots back, is to take advantage of all that back budding. I'm going to start the pruning on these branches near the edge of the canopy on the right hand side, removing some of this vertical growth and taking advantage of this back budding to get more horizontal branches. So here I go. This branch looks much flatter now and to shape. I'll do the same kind of pruning on the left hand side now. So here's some back buds here, so I can prune this tip off. It's a vertical one, there's back buds behind it, so I can take that off. This one can come off. That one can be reduced. This one. This one can be reduced. So that's gotten that end branch a lot flatter on the top. Here's a view from the front, and you can see that already these flatter edges on the tree make the overall profile of the canopy look much better. So now I'm going to go in and try and develop my pads with space around them from the front view so you can kind of see through the tree. So it might involve trimming the top of the pad and pruning off branches from the underneath to kind of create a really thin pad layer. So I'm looking at the tree from the front view, so I'm just checking out all these layers. So I'll start with this bottom branch here, this pad here, trying to get it nice and flat. So here I go, pruning back the new extensions to some of the back budding. There's even some upright growth here that I think I need to prune off. There's some foliage that's developed down lower on this branch, so I can take some of these vertical sections off, like that, just to get this pad even flatter. Here's that pad from the top view. You can see it in here. I've got some extensions that are kind of sticking out of the profile, so I've got to bring those back more. So I'll do that. I'll bring it back to some back budding there and there. So now it's got a nice profile to it. There's a few of the older leaves I can remove that are, a bit yellowy. So the new leaves haven't really darkened in yet. This is the dark color of the older leaves, and the new ones are a bit lighter still, but they'll darken up. There's one here I could take back even more. Maybe this one too. Now this branch is starting to grow into the one that surrounds it, so I'm going to prune it back here too, shortening the pad like that. The rest I think is pretty good. Maybe I can take a little more off this one. Yeah, I think that's pretty good for that one little branch. Now when I look at this branch from the front view, you can see it's a lot flatter on the top and cleaner underneath. So it makes a nice flat branch, and you can see a bit of space around it from the front view. I'll continue working away. This is my next branch I'm going to work on. It's right here, getting that flatter. Taking advantage of some back budding. And you can't do everything at once in these trees. You've got to work in stages. I'll do what I can today, and then I'll get more back budding, more development, and I can further refine the branch in the future. So this branch isn't very flat. I've got quite a section sticking up here. That needs cutting back. I can only cut it back so much at a time. I think that's got it. That's as flat as I can get that branch. In future, if more develops down here, I can flatten it even more. I've got some growth back further on this branch. I can take it back. And then I'm looking underneath. I've got a hanging branch here, which normally I like, but on this tree with this style, I want it flat on the bottom, so that comes off. So that's working quite well. Yeah, just small improvements to the branch, and over time you get something really nice. I'll continue working away on the Serissa, trying to define those pads, getting them shallower, flatter, more space to see through the tree. So I can just shorten them where I can, and that's about it. So I'll keep working away. I'm trying to get the overall height of the tree down too. It's a little too rounded. I need to get it a little flatter, I think. So I can do that. There's lots of shoots here that need taking back. Some really vigorous growth. So if I didn't do this trimming work today, I might lose some of these back buds. The new shoots would grow in and maybe shade them out. And then it'd be harder to reduce the tree back more compact. So that's the reason after a major pruning, I go back and I look at the new shoots that are developing and then further prune it even more, refining it. And then once this work's done, then I'll let it grow out and gain vigor again. And then I'll do the whole operation once again. Just keep repeating that process. Hard pruning back after letting it grow, and then refining what you get with all that back budding from the hard pruning. So it's just a never-ending process of refinement. And over the years you get a really, really nice tree. So your effort gets rewarded. I've got a strange crossing branch here I think I've got to remove too. Just to clean that area up. You know, my goal is to be able to look through the tree. I'm also looking for any shoots that are growing back in towards the center of the tree. I want everything fanning outwards to the outer part of the profile of the canopy. I don't want any growth kind of you know, jumbling up the flow of the tree. Like this branch here, which can come off. Yeah, so I'm opening up a lot of gaps now so I can see into the tree structure, which is a lot nicer. From above here, you can see some of the spaces I'm opening up around all these branches. So, whereas up here it's really dense, so I've got to get, you know, each branch defined. And again, it's always tough pruning off ramification, but you've got to keep the design of the tree in mind. So that pad's a little more defined now. Yeah, I can't really take that back much further. I think that's about it. I can take this branch off. A big problem with the design is that it's too rounded, and it should be more of a flatter triangular shape, or even flatter, just a flat top. I find a slight triangular shape looks good, and I've got reference photos with trees that look like that. They have a slight triangular shape to them, and I really like that style. So again, you know, always check your reference photos. Make a folder on your computer where you store all your reference pics and refer to them before you start styling your trees. You can also do a little leaf thinning. If it's getting too dense in one area, you can prune out some leaves to thin out the branch a bit. Just have to make sure light gets to every part of the branch, otherwise it dies off. Well, that's true with most trees. I had to make a lot of hard decisions, a lot of hard pruning decisions, getting my pads, you know, trimming off ramification, trying to get space between the pads and flattening them out. I think I've taken it back as far as I can today, and I'm quite happy with it. I can see, you know, there's a lot of refining to go in the future. I did notice one major branch here that I think I want to remove, and I'll show you that. Looking up at the tree, this is the back view, and I have this branch flowing out here that divides into two, and then I've got a vertical one up top that kind of just shoots straight up. And I'll show you it in the front view. So if I rotate it around, here's the front view, and that branch comes straight up in here. And I don't know how much you can see it. I can see it. If you look here, you can see it sticking straight up. I think it doesn't flow very well with the tree, especially, you know, having three branches coming from almost one spot there. So I'm going to take it off. And it might leave a little bit of a hole in the canopy, but that might be good, that I'm getting, you know, a little more space between the branches. So I'm going to take it out from the back here. All right, here I go. And it's not that tough a branch. I think I can remove it with my long handle scissors here. It's about the only way I can get in here, the only tool that reaches. So this is a tough cut, but here I go. So I'm going to get it as flush as I can. Here I go, like that. So there's, zombie apocalypse. There's the branch I took off. That'd make a good cutting. I'll try rooting it. I'll rotate it back to the front and see if we can see any difference in the tree. I think that looks better. This branch flows a lot nicer without that vertical section. So I think that's a big improvement. There's some suckers growing up from the roots here that I've got to prune back once again. There's one in here. Like that. There's one growing off the root here. I got to do a bit of tidying up here. And there's one at the back here too. Prune that back. Another little one here. And And another little one here. There's one growing from the root base here. I'll take that off. And one growing from in here. Which isn't hard to get at. It's not easy to get at. There. Got that one. And I think that's got them all. Yeah, that looks good. All right, I'll clean up the landscape and we'll have a look at the tree. I've got the landscape cleaned up. You'll notice that the moss is creating a giant island of moss here. In future, I'm going to be pruning it, just having small clumps. And that'll look like the African savanna. So I've done it before on this tree and it looks really good. You just prune around and leave little clumps of moss and it looks like, you know, little bushes or something on the African landscape. So look for that in the future. I'll rotate the tree around so you can see it from all angles. So here's the front. And back to the front. There's a playlist for this tree. I'll leave it in the description below so you can see how it looked 8 years ago and how it's progressed over the years, what I've done to it. Here's a view up top now so you can see how sparse the canopy is, how much space there is between the branches, so you can kind of see the branch structure underneath the canopy, which is always cool. Yeah, so the tree's come a long way in the last 8 years. Becoming quite a nice, mature looking tree. It's been 21 days since I started this pruning process on my Serissa, doing the hard pruning at first, letting it grow in a bit, and then refining that pruning, taking it back to some of the back buds. So I think in a week or two, it'll look its absolute best, kind of show ready. We'll see anyway. And I'm doing this video so I can keep track of the timing. So, you know, 21 days, that's 3 weeks. I think by the end of 4 weeks, I think it'll look really good. It's time now for today's updates. Let's head into the greenhouse to start today's updates. I've got the heater running because it's only 16 degrees Celsius today, so it's pretty cool out. Next couple of days will be quite cool. So I want to show you my baobab that I planted the other day. So here it is, it's perked up. The leaves are turning green. These are the first kind of starter leaves. So that's looking good. I have my cashew here. You can see it's coming up. It's got a green trunk. It looks like the leaves in there, they're going to pop out eventually. That's the only one I've noticed any movement on so far. I've got some here. They don't look like they're moving. I've got some back over there. Nothing moving on those yet. Nothing moving on these ones either. So yeah, at least I'll probably get one anyway. Here's my bitter almond. It's growing up nice and strong, so that's nice to see. The pines are doing well in there. All the cuttings I took off my Kone Aster, you can see a small one way back there. They seem to be all doing really well. The ones from the Lilac, I'm not sure yet. Here's my thick one. The leaves are starting to dry up, and so I don't know if it's rooting or not. Here's another one where the leaves are all drying up. There's one in the pot over here that looks a little better. So we'll see. I don't know how they'll take from cuttings. My rock and moss penging here survived a really hard rainstorm. Everything's looking good on that. All my accent plants are doing really well. Yeah, looking good. Here's a look at the French lilac now. So I pruned it back quite hard last time, and there's all kinds of new shoots coming out on it all over. Even in places I don't want it, so I don't want this lowest branch, so I'll have to remove that. But all these upper ones are looking good. The Kone Aster is also doing really well. There's all kinds of new growth on it. And again, there's some down low where I don't really want it. But up top in the canopy, it's really starting to fill out nicely. How much was it again? Oh, there's the price. $16.99. Cool. Because of all the rain we've had lately, the mosses are looking really good. Here's my Scots pine, root over rock. Check out that moss, it's looking good. My bird's nest spruce, the moss is looking good. Even on my elms here, all this moss just grew in naturally on the elms. You can see the thick layer on it. My Cascade Cedar has a nice bed of moss in the planting now. Lots of cascade branches on it. It's looking good. The cedar forest is growing nice and strongly. There's a T-Rex in there, just waiting for someone to wander in there. I pruned back my lemon tree in a recent video, and it's getting all kinds of growth. We'll come over this side. You can see there's new shoots coming out on the branches here. Right here, here. I already pinched this one back. There's 3 new shoots coming out on this branch, maybe even 4. So that's kind of exciting. Yeah, they're looking good. Kind of come out of this one branch I hard pruned here. You can see there's some new shoots coming out on that. Yeah, looking good. There's a whole bunch here. So that's good. It should get a nice canopy, hopefully by the end of summer. The fiddle leaf fig is doing really well. Let's go in and have a look at that. So remember, I did that big chop on the top, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 new branches forming on it. I don't know if that one back there will make it. It's kind of weak, but lots of branches coming out on it, which is kind of exciting. Looks like it hopefully has survived that trunk chop. Rosemary from the KW Club gave me these 2 Amber maple seedlings last year. So this is their 2nd year. And this year I put them in bonsai soil, repotted them. And the little one didn't look like it was going to survive, but then it started picking up steam, and now it's looking really good. The larger one's growing really well too. I've got some branches that are getting a little strong, and they'll need pruning back to kind of equalize the canopy a bit, but it's looking good. It's getting a decent trunk on it. Bit of a branch structure, so that's all you can ask for. My Snow Queen Hibiscus in here is really exploding in growth. You can see it here. It's also getting a decent trunk on it. I haven't seen any flower buds on it yet, but I imagine those will come. Yeah, it's looking really good. My smaller Ficus Religiosa is doing well. Getting some nice bark on the trunk. Yeah, looking nice. There's some new growth coming on it. Here's my 2 little leaf ficus that I did a lot of root work on. I didn't get it on camera because I didn't think the tree would survive, but it did. So there's more root work coming up for this tree. But it's looking decent. It's getting better every year. These are my English oaks, or my royal oaks. They're growing quite tall and getting quite thick on the trunks. Yeah, I'm really pleased with the growth of these. And nice little leaves on them. Really amazing. Yeah, I'm really happy with the royal oaks. The acacias here are doing really well. The leaves are kind of turning a nice bluish color. Interesting. Might be all the sunshine we've been getting. Yeah, they're looking really good. Growing nice and strong. I think another week or two and I'll be ready to cut those back. The silver maple forest that I planted this year as a forest is doing well. Looks really healthy. Some nice leaf shapes. Look at that one. Yeah, nice shaped leaves. And they can be reduced quite small with bonsai techniques. These have just been allowed to grow. So once I start pruning these, and I gotta wait till the root system's a little stronger before I do that. But I'm hoping maybe towards the end of July I'll cut them in half and start developing the branch structure on them a little more. They're getting pretty big. My bog forest, my northern landscape, is doing well. You can see the larches have all kinds of new shoots coming on them. See the little light colored green shoots. You can see them on this tree too. All kinds of new shoots coming in. Yeah, it's looking really good. I really like this. I can't wait to start planting some rocks in it. Those rocks I got recently. They'll look really good in this landscape, I think. My avatar grove, the forest of Thuja occidentalis, is growing really well. I reduced all the trees back as far as I could in spring, as far as I dared, and I took them back quite hard. And now they're just really lush looking, filling out really well. So I'm going to have to prune this soon, both the moss, the trees, so that'll be coming up soon. And I'm going to put my new rocks in here too, so I'm really looking forward to that. The larch forest is doing well. I had reduced the upper part, doing a lot of needle plucking, pruning, and they're filling out quite nicely. Kind of almost equal with the bottoms of the tree. And they're getting all kinds of new shoots in now too. So yeah, it's recovered quite well from the partial defoliation, getting some good growth on the larch forest. My last update for today is my Ficus Microcarpa. You can see how much growth it has. It's really taking off now. As soon as July comes along, these ficus, they really start growing. So yeah, doing quite well. I'm pleased with the progress. And I think by the end of summer, this tree will have thickened up quite a bit, maybe even a third as much as it was, the trunk in that, because it's really thickening up fast. Yeah, looking good. And it looks really healthy too. It's liking this 3D printed pot that Stefan sent me. I'm really liking it too. I love that pot. I really enjoyed getting the branch structure refined on my Serissa today. I think it's looking much better and it's slowly improving over the years. That's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.